They say no man is an island. But what if I told you sometimes an island is all you need to be? What if I told you the world doesn't break you because you're alone? It breaks you when you depend on others who fail you. Let me take you on a journey, not of despair, but of power. A story of learning to walk alone and why that's okay. Why that's more than okay. It's necessary. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll see the strength in your solitude. From the moment we're born, we're fed the same story. You need someone to complete you. You need someone to stand beside you. You're not enough on your own. They tell you that being alone is some kind of failure. That if you don't have a crowd cheering for you, you're lost. And we believe it. We chase relationships, friendships, social validation. Anything to avoid that dreaded silence of being alone with ourselves. But what happens when those people leave? When they fail you? When the ones you thought would stand by you vanish when the storm hits? You're left staring at the mirror, wondering why you feel so empty. And the answer is right there staring back at you. You gave them the power to define your worth. There's a moment in life that hits everyone like a freight train. A moment when you're at your lowest and the world turns its back on you. Maybe it's betrayal, maybe it's neglect, maybe it's just the cruel indifference of life. But that moment, that's where everything changes, not because the pain goes away, but because you realize something profound. You're the only one who's truly there for you. Think about it. Who's been there in your darkest hour? When the tears wouldn't stop? When the nights felt endless? It wasn't the friends who promised they'd always be there. It wasn't the lover who swore they'd never let you go. It wasn't even family. It was you. The one constant in your life is you. And the moment you embrace that, the moment you stop fighting it, is the moment you begin to understand what it means to truly live. Here's the truth no one talks about. Being alone isn't a curse, it's a weapon. When you walk alone, you don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't rely on anyone for approval. You don't waste time waiting for someone to save you. You become the architect of your own life. Solitude teaches you things that no crowd ever will. It shows you how to be resourceful, how to fight through the pain without leaning on someone else, how to stand tall, even when the world is hell-bent on dragging you down. And it's not easy. No, walking alone is the hardest thing you'll ever do. But that's what makes it so damn powerful. Because the scars you earn along the way, they're yours, and no one can take them from you. Walking alone isn't about pretending the world doesn't hurt you. It's about facing that pain head on. When you're alone, there's no one to distract you from the darkness. No one to shield you from the thoughts that creep in at night. But here's the thing. That darkness, it's not your enemy. It's your teacher. The pain you feel when you're alone, that's growth. That's the fire forging you into something stronger. It's the universe's way of saying, this is who you are when no one's looking. Can you handle it? Most people run from that question. They bury themselves in noise, in people, in distractions. But not you. You're still here, listening. Because deep down, you know there's something waiting for you on the other side of that loneliness. Something powerful, something unbreakable. When you learn to walk alone, you stop waiting for someone else to fix your problems. You stop blaming others for your pain. You take control. And that control, that's the foundation of real power. Think of the people who've truly changed the world. The ones who defied the odds, who stood tall when everyone else crumbled. They didn't do it because they had a massive support system. They did it because they believed in themselves when no one else did. Walking alone teaches you self-reliance. It forces you to grow, to adapt, to become more than you ever thought you could be. And that kind of strength? It's rare. It's unstoppable. Have you ever wondered why society pushes so hard for conformity? Why they tell you to find your tribe, to blend in, to be part of something bigger? It's because they fear the lone wolf. The person who walks alone isn't bound by the rules. They don't care about the opinions of the crowd. They don't need validation to feel whole. And that terrifies people, because a person who doesn't need anyone can't be controlled. When you walk alone, you're not just surviving. You're thriving on your own terms. And that kind of freedom? It's priceless. There's a strange kind of peace that comes with walking alone. You start to see the world differently. You notice the things others overlook, the quiet moments, the small victories, the beauty in simply existing. And you realize something profound. You're not alone because no one wants you. You're alone because you've chosen to value your own company, to prioritize your growth, your peace, your journey. And that's not something to be ashamed of. That's something to be proud of. Dependence is a trap. It's the invisible chain that binds you to people, places, and situations that no longer serve you. You cling to it out of fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of failing. Fear of facing yourself. But here's what no one tells you. The moment you break free, the moment you stop looking for others to save you, you truly begin to live. You see, dependence weakens you. It makes you smaller, less capable, less resilient. It convinces you that without others, you're nothing. But walking alone, it teaches you that you're everything. When you take that first step into solitude, you feel the weight of those chains fall away. And though it's terrifying at first, it's also liberating. Because now, you're free to become exactly who you were meant to be. We're constantly fed the idea that we need someone to complete us. That without a partner, a friend, or a support system, we're somehow less. But that's a lie designed to keep you compliant. The truth is, you don't need anyone. You might want someone, and that's okay. Wanting connection is human, but needing it, that's where you lose yourself. Because when you believe you need someone to survive, you give them power over you. You allow them to dictate your happiness, your worth, your direction. And that's dangerous. Walking alone strips away that illusion. It shows you that you're more than enough on your own. It gives you the strength to choose connection without depending on it. Pain is inevitable. It's part of life. But the way you respond to it is what defines you. When you're alone, pain doesn't have the luxury of being shared or diluted. It hits you head-on, raw and unfiltered. And while that can feel unbearable at times, it's also the forge where resilience is born. Every wound, every scar, every sleepless night spent battling your own demons, it all makes you stronger. You don't just endure the pain, you transform it. You turn it into fuel, into drive, into a relentless hunger to rise above. And when the world sees you standing tall, they'll have no idea how much you've overcome. Because you've learned to wear your scars like armor, not as wounds. Society has a strange definition of success. It tells you that you need to be surrounded by people, that you need admiration, followers, and constant validation to feel accomplished. But is that really success? When you walk alone, you redefine what success means. It's no longer about pleasing others or fitting into their expectations. It's about your journey, your growth, your peace. Success becomes waking up every day and knowing you're living life on your own terms. It's about finding fulfillment in your solitude and creating a life that doesn't rely on anyone else for its meaning. Let's talk about fear. Not the fear of danger or failure, but the fear of loneliness. It's one of the most primal fears we have, the thought of being alone. It creeps in during the quiet moments, making you question your worth, your purpose, your place in the world. But here's the secret. Loneliness isn't something to fear, it's something to understand, because loneliness isn't about being physically alone. It's about feeling disconnected from yourself, from your purpose, from your truth. When you walk alone, you confront that disconnection. You learn to reconnect with the one person who truly matters, you. And in doing so, you realize that loneliness isn't a void to be filled. It's a call to return to yourself. Silence is deafening to those who fear it. But for those who embrace it, silence becomes a source of unparalleled strength. When you walk alone, the noise of the world fades away. The opinions, the judgments, the expectations, they all fall silent. And in that stillness, you find clarity. You hear your own voice for the first time in years. You discover what truly matters to you, not what others have told you should matter. And that clarity? That's the foundation of unshakable strength. Because when you know who you are and what you stand for, nothing and no one can shake you. Walking alone doesn't mean you've shut the world out. It means you've embraced independence. Independence is the ultimate gift you can give yourself. It's the ability to stand tall without leaning on anyone else, to make decisions based on your own values, not the opinions of others. When you're independent, you don't fear loss. You don't cling to people or situations out of desperation. You know that no matter what happens, you'll be okay. Because you've built a life that doesn't crumble when someone walks away. A life that's yours and yours alone. The world looks different when you walk alone. You start to see it for what it truly is. Not a playground of endless connections, but a battlefield of resilience and survival. You notice how much energy people waste trying to fit in, to please others, to keep up appearances. And you realize you want no part of it. Walking alone allows you to focus on what really matters. It strips away the distractions and leaves you with the raw, unfiltered truth. And that truth? It's that you don't need anyone else to validate your existence. You're here. You're alive. And that's enough. When you walk alone, you become unstoppable. Not because you're invincible, but because you've learned to rely on the one person who will never leave you, yourself. You face the darkness and come out stronger. You've embraced the silence and found peace. You've let go of dependence and discovered freedom. And now, nothing can hold you back. The world will try to pull you down. It will throw challenges, betrayals, and heartbreak your way. But you'll stand tall, because you've walked this path alone, and you've learned that the greatest power comes from within. So here you are, walking alone. Not because you have to, but because you've realized the truth. You don't need anyone to complete you. You were never incomplete to begin with. The road ahead won't be easy. There will be days when the silence feels unbearable, when the weight of the world presses down on your shoulders. But remember this, every step you take on your own is a step toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. So keep walking, keep fighting, because the strength you're building now, that's the kind of strength that lasts a lifetime. And when they ask how you did it, how you found the strength to keep going, you'll smile and say, I walk alone, and I'm okay on my own. That's all. I'm out. By the way, if you want to level up in life, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Until next time.